This is American Dumpster Fire.
Welcome back to American Dumpster Fire. This is Loki.
This is Tyr.
And it's been an eventful week, right?
Little bit.
Well, okay, eventful year. I think this year's been trying to kill us.
This year is definitely trying to kill
I think
us.
this is the first time where I've wondered if we would have a sequel to a year, you know? Like,
Right.
Will the next season be canceled? Or
It's fucking crazy, man. It's fucking
will it be more of the same?
crazy.
I think we should fire these writers and hire new ones.
For sure.
But, okay, so we've got a few interesting things. I don't know, what do you think is going to happen with the Biden vice president thing?
I think it's going to be Kamala.
Do you? I wish it was Warren, comparatively.
I honestly would love to see Warren. I don't think at this point he can go with a white woman.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, that just kind of is what it is. We need people of color representing us in the government.
I'm
and
just not sure I believe Kamala's progressive enough.
I don't disagree
to
with
offset
you.
Biden. You know, if Biden were a little more
Is
progressive.
she the one who was a police officer?
No, the slogan "Kamala is a cop" doesn't refer to her being.
No,
a police.
I thought there
It
was a
referred to
police
her being
officer.
hard
Was
on
it somebody
crime.
from Florida who was a police officer?
Maybe, I don't know.
That was an option. So I think what I saw was that they had Rice, Harris, and Warren were the ones.
Why
who
is Rice even an option? She's a Republican. Straight up Republican. She's not a Democrat.
Dude, I don't know. That's what I thought I saw.
Yeah, people are like, Condoleezza Rice. The party would just be the Republican Party now, part 2, and not Democrat. Because Condoleezza Rice is a Republican.
Okay.
Like, that's not me being mean. That is actually what she is.
I'm just telling you what I read.
Yeah, no,
the ones
stop
that
with the Condoleezza Rice bullshit, people. It's not even an option. Just take it off the table.
So I think that it's going to end up being Kamala.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't like the reasoning. You know?
The reasoning.
Yeah, because it's they're just people are just you need to pick a black woman.
No, I know.
And I don't like that. I wish we could. And I'm not saying a black woman isn't the most qualified candidate, but I'm saying we should choose based off of the most qualified candidate.
But don't you think that there's a lot of other places that Warren could be helpful?
Can she? I don't know. I mean,
I like her ideas on bank reform. I like that she's a progressive. I do. I would have been thrilled to vote for her as president. But what does the VP really do? Like, what has Mike Pence done?
well, he's a wax dummy. What do you want him to do?
I mean, I want him to be in jail, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. The only time I think he ever gets excitable is when Mama busts out the nipple clamps and electrodes. That's it. I don't think otherwise. He's just a wax dummy otherwise. I think he's had so much ECT, his brain is mush.
I don't know what ECT is.
Electroconvulsive therapy.
Oh.
That's what they use to torture gay people in the conversion camps that they own.
Okay. So, I don't know. I guess I don't really have a strong opinion about the VP, to be honest with you.
A VP can be a strong addition to the cabinet. You know, it can be something. I guess we haven't.
From all I've seen over the past few years, the only thing I've seen Pence actually do is be a tiebreaker when it came time to fucking things up worse in the Senate.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's just because of the vice president he is, though. You know what I'm saying? He's just useless as a person.
Right.
You know, he's like a skin tag. Like, it's just.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'd be fine with Kamala Harris. At least she's, trying to do something.
No, I'm
in
not against
response to the
Kamala Harris. Don't get me wrong.
protests.
I'm just against their reasoning behind it. You know, it's just like that is just we're gonna pick a black woman, no matter what. And it's like
I think they're going to.
But just
I think that- okay,
can you
but you
pick the
have to
most
understand-
qualified black women? I'm not saying Kamala isn't that, but we're not even looking. You know.
My thing is that right now, people of color might be comforted to see themselves being represented.
Okay, Stacey Abrams, she might be better. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think we need to look more at policy and qualification and stuff like that.
I swear there was somebody in Florida that they were looking at, but I don't know. I don't remember the name.
But
Or maybe it was just somebody that other people were wanting considered for it, and it wasn't necessarily someone Biden was considering. I don't really know. I don't remember.
Considering Condoleezza Rice thing is definitely a Republican move that they kind of, the Republicans who jumped ship and came to the Democratic Party to get rid of Trump
that's
are
entirely
like, we want
possible.
Condoleezza Rice because she's a Republican.
Right.
That's why you want Condoleezza Rice.
Right.
She is not in any way good for the country. No Republican is.
Right.
Give up your Republican values if you want to save America.
Maybe it was the people who jumped ship from Trump
Yeah.
to the
That's
Democratic
the thing.
Party.
They're reshaping the Democratic Party and making it conservative, and that's just not acceptable.
Well, right, because their party was taken over
Start
by
your
terrorists.
own fucking party. Get the fuck out of ours. I'm not kidding. Or fix your damn party.
Their party is beyond fixing.
It's destroyed. They let it get
It's beyond
destroyed.
fixing. They're literally nothing but criminals.
And Trump and
I'm
his
not
crime
saying-
family have
I'm
everything
not
to do
saying
with
the
that.
Democrats aren't also criminals, but I'm saying like the Trump administration straight up belongs behind bars.
Yeah. It's
All of them. I think that like seriously we need to. What's wrong?
oh no, nothing.
Oh, I think that we seriously need to take over and then legit everything that he's done, pull it apart. Like before we even start fixing things. Oh, and I mean, he was nice enough to highlight literally everything that needs to be fixed. How much power he has, how much the Senate is not good enough to control the president. I mean, there's so many things that need to be fixed.
Right.
So many things. How he's profited off of his position. How he's gotten his buddies to profit off of his position, how he's leveraged his relationship with other countries for his kids to profit, just all kinds of shit.
I will be absolutely disappointed if we don't take the opportunity that once we take back the presidency, if not the Senate and everything else, to limit the powers of our political figures. We need these powers. That's the thing. All the last few years have shown us is that everybody in power needs their power limited.
Absolutely. It has beyond highlighted the fact that Mitch McConnell has got to fucking go. He's got to go.
And his position needs to have its power limited.
Absolutely.
The fact that he can just dead end everything that comes across his desk is ridiculous. He's more powerful than the president right now.
Yeah, and how is it that nobody has the power to overrun him?
Right.
How is it that one person can literally like derail everything that's being trying to be done in the Senate?
He needs
That's
shut down.
Unacceptable.
He's the most powerful man in America right now.
Yeah.
And
no.
it's disgusting.
And he belongs in jail.
Yes, absolutely.
No, we absolutely need to get rid of. Oh God, what's that? What's that thing where corporations can give politicians money?
Citizens United.
Thank you. That has to go. The for-profit prisons have to go, or whatever reform that we're trying to do with the police right now is never going to matter, because as long as somebody is profiting off of putting people in jail, we're going to criminalize everything. These things need to be fixed if we want to see justice in this country.
Yes, Republicans are pushing America towards a fascism for profit.
Right, exactly. We need to put much better limits on the power of these people. It was always supposed to be, well, the Senate will balance out. The president can never have too much power. He can never be a king. And we failed to see how corrupt the Senate is to just cater to this king.
Yeah.
You know? It's insane. It's insane the things that they have gotten away with. It's insane the things that over decades the politicians have gotten away with, slowly push our country into this place where it's no longer about the people. It's no longer a democracy.
Oh, no. They've definitely made it about their corporate donors and stuff like that, and that's it. The corporation's the only thing that matters. And if they're going to be the only thing that matters in America, then they got to be the only thing paying taxes.
Agreed.
Then they've got to be the ones to hold the entire burden of this country on their shoulders. And honestly, and the religious lobby is one of the big ones. And honestly, then we need to tax all churches. So it's time to tax the churches.
I don't think that churches have any place in politics whatsoever.
None at all. No. I think that law should all be based off of scientific understanding of facts and a value of limitation of power. That people have rights, not
Right.
corporations. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
exactly.
So yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, and we need to limit
And
the
I
power
think
of the
that we're
cops.
even seeing that, we're seeing that a little bit in this movement that the cops are seemingly here to protect property more than life.
Yes.
They're here to protect businesses. They're here to, people are literally throwing a bigger fit over vandalism, spray paint, and looting
Than killing people.
than life,
Yeah.
than human life. This is the thing. These are the things that they expect the police to protect from.
Yeah, so don't give me any of your pro-life bullshit, because
Right,
you don't
exactly.
mean any of it.
Exactly.
So what you really mean is oppression, and that's all they want. They want authoritarian rule over
It's
everybody.
shocking. It is shocking to see these same people who were out with their fucking rifles screaming in police officers' faces about
Popping on them. And
about I need a haircut. Like throwing an absolute temper tantrum over the pandemic. And yet now they're just saying everybody should just obey the police. Well, you shouldn't be out there, you shouldn't be protesting. You should have
Right.
just listened.
it's because they're
You shouldn't be
hypocrite
breaking
pieces of crap.
curfew. Like literally, people are getting the shit beaten out of them, and the response is, "Well, you broke curfew."
Right.
Do you really think that the response to breaking curfew should have it be having the crap beaten out of you?
I live in America. There shouldn't be a such thing as a curfew.
Regardless, you're seeing fuck tons of cops protecting who are converging on these protesters, who are attacking protesters who are doing nothing wrong.
Right.
Meanwhile, across town, shit's getting looted and broken and stuff, and they're not going after those people.
Oh.
No one is complaining when they actually go after the people who are looting and burning shit.
But
But that's not what they're
no,
focusing on.
no, they're focusing on because it's about obedience. It has nothing to do with law and order. It's about obedience.
It is about
They want
obedience.
your subjugation. That's all it is. They shot a woman in the face for walking home with groceries. They beat a woman for riding across the street on a bicycle. I mean,
They blinded a man who wasn't even part of the protest. He was walking to his
they
truck.
have regularly hurt people who had nothing to do with any of this. They just decided that they were going to be a bunch of fucking thugs, and they attacked people. That's what happened.
Because this is what we get for rising up. This is literally the definition of like abuse.
So
And don't tell me, because this is the exact same mentality that causes domestic abuse. Don't tell me these men don't beat their wives.
at a higher rate than everybody else in America, it's been proven already.
So here's the thing: is that at this point they have proven the point. Video after video after video of police beating the ever-loving shit out of peaceful protesters, police instigating non-violent things into chaos, into war zones. I mean, you're proving the fucking point. I
Right.
would go as far as to say we would be seeing less movement on government officials saying, you're right, we need to change, if it hadn't been for the response of the police.
I think we need to change a bunch of things, and people, unfortunately, we picked a slogan that people are having a hard time with, because we live in a culture where people rarely research anything they're talking about. We have these big name personalities who are abolish the police or defund the police. What an ignorant thing! What happens when we don't have any police? That's not actually what it means. None of you bothered to do any research. You just spout off.
The problem is that's kind of the way the world works nowadays.
So
Right now, everybody has no attention span, and if your slogan immediately turns off half of the people who support your movement, it's probably not a good slogan. And I
But I
know
don't-
everybody just wants you to listen. And in a perfect world, they would be listening. They would say, "Oh, defund the police. That doesn't sound like a good plan, but let me look into this." And yeah, everybody fucking agrees with what you're actually saying, but the words that are being used are causing a lot of disagreement, amongst people who would probably otherwise agree. And I know nobody wants it to be that way, but the world is the way the world is,
well, in the end, though, defund the police actually has a lot of good ideas.
It absolutely does.
And Camden, New Jersey did a lot of those good
Mhm.
ideas, and it's working out well for them. They've actually had a reduction of crime while simultaneously not chasing after stupid things.
Right.
You're not going to see a jaywalker getting beaten.
Right.
In
And they
Camden,
themselves say
so-
that they still have work to do.
Sure.
They're not done. There's always going to be more. But
Eh.
I mean, at the same time, they're seeing a huge improvement. And if you'll notice during the protests, There wasn't a fuck ton of cops beating on peaceful protesters. What you see is that the cops, the chief of police, was there holding the banner, marching with them from the get-go.
Right.
This wasn't something where they were pretending, in order to pacify the protesters.
Right. It wasn't pandering.
No, it wasn't. This was genuine. We are a part of this community. This is a problem for us as well.
And that's my point is, and I feel that if a lot more of the police had to come from the community that they policed, then maybe you would protect it differently, But when it's not your city, and you can get away with being a bully, you can get away with treating people like that, because the fact is, if you live among us, and you act
it's your
like
city
that,
too. Yeah.
and I see you at the grocery store, it gets a
Right.
little more uncomfortable, doesn't it?
That's true.
So maybe, having to live in the community you police
That used
will
to be
make
a
you
thing.
think- yeah, well, people sued so that it wouldn't have to be a thing,
Right.
right?
And it's a hard thing because I get it. You want to be a cop, so you apply for a job, but then what? You have to sell your house and move when you've just moved to a new position.
Or apply to be a cop in your own city.
Yes, but not. I mean, your city's not always hiring, so
I mean,
it's a difficult thing. I get it, but I mean, there has to be maybe within 5 years or something like that. There has to be some kind of some give there. I don't know.
I also think that policing should be more spread out in a city, in that a lot of cities have a central police station. Now, bigger cities, they'll have this precinct, that precinct, and which makes sense. But I think maybe even more diversified and more spread out, because in a lot of cities, the demographic is by block. You know what I'm saying? Or there's a few, like, we have Polish village here and Ukrainian village, and these are very different communities, even though they are very close together.
So you're
in
saying
Europe.
having cops within a community
In those
rather than a
communities,
city.
right? Not the whole city, but and
See,
to-
financially, that might be difficult. It just depends on the budget. Like, I know that New York City has an insane budget, but they also probably have multiple precincts and tons of
right.
police. And as far as what I'm seeing in the police brutality videos, they have a fuck ton of work to do in police reform.
But they'll have a lot more time, because I don't think they should be doing things like pulling people over and ticketing them. You don't need to be a cop to do that. You know what I'm saying? We can have other units for that kind of thing. I mean, I realize a lot of people are they like the ticketing machines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And honestly, I hate them. I think they're stupid.
I don't. I've seen people pull some pretty dangerous traffic shit.
It doesn't stop them. Most of those people are privileged people with a lot of money who can afford to pay the tickets.
Maybe so.
Or they
But
thought to take the
I think that it
license
does
plates off their car.
does deter it to some extent. So the I mean, but yeah, there's a lot of things that cops are called for that there's probably better people for that job. Being called to somebody who's mentally unstable, there should be medical professionals
There's a strange
handling those kinds of things.
I can't tell you how many times I hear from people, though, the police I know and stuff like that. They get called because there's a stranger in their neighborhood or something like that, walking on the sidewalk. That's not a crime, people, and the police shouldn't be answering to things that aren't crimes.
Right.
It's just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous notion that the cops show up just because you look like you don't belong in an area. Guess what? It's America. You belong in any area you want to be in, as long as it's not private property.
Right. There's a lot of situations, though, where people are talking about replacing, like for domestic situations, where maybe there's a fight.
Like social workers and counselors
Sending
and stuff
social
like
workers and stuff. Like, obviously, they would have to be trained more like police officers, but maybe some sort of hybrid between a social worker and a cop. Not every freaking person needs to be carrying a gun.
Right.
Unless you're going into a dangerous situation, do you really need a gun? I'm not saying no weapon. If you need a baton or a taser or something like that, something less lethal. We just saw that guy who got shot in the back at the Wendy's, right?
that. Yeah.
And honestly, it was one of the less clear videos I've seen. The guy was sleeping in his car. He had the cops called on him. He ran after being tackled to the ground. And the more and more of these videos I see, I'm starting to understand why these people are running from the police, because they're fucking scary. But essentially, the guy, they tased him, and they claimed that he got the taser and ran. Now, a lot of people are saying that that's not a deadly weapon because
It isn't.
the police claim it's not a deadly weapon and they tase the fuck out of people on a regular basis. Second of all, they are also saying that once it's been fired, he can't use it again. Well, it wouldn't have any effect because he can't tase other people at that point. So there's that. But on the other, but in addition, he was running away. He had no deadly weapon, and they shot him with real bullets.
And
So
like
why do they carry these rubber bullets, that they're blinding people with in crowd control situations, but they don't have that option in this situation where real bullets should not have been. It was a step too far.
Because we need
At least.
police reform. That's why.
Why weren't rubber bullets an option in this case where it could have taken the guy down without killing him?
Right.
You know?
No, I agree. It's and likely he by the way he probably took the taser so they would stop tasing him.
It's entirely possible.
So
I don't know. Somebody said he didn't have the there's a lot of stuff going around. The videos are kind of shitty because I think they're not cell phone videos. I don't think they're mostly like surveillance video kind of things.
Yeah.
So honestly, I can't even get a good read on it. It does.
But that's where
It's an unarmed guy running away,
so many other
and they shot him.
places are trained so much better in de-escalation, and
Yes.
we keep getting, unfortunately, so many fragile people who are scared of everything becoming police officers. And it's just you just don't belong there. I'm sorry, get a different job.
I agree. I feel like a lot of these crimes are just because these cops are too scared to do their job.
Right.
They're legit afraid
And if you're
of
that
people.
scared, don't do this job.
Yeah, I agree.
By all means, I support you getting a different job.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find somebody who is right
There
for
are
it.
tons of jobs where not just anybody can do it. I could never be a nurse. I could never do that
Yeah.
job.
No,
you
I-
know?
Yeah.
And I don't think that says anything bad about me. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't watch people in pain. I couldn't watch people
mean,
die. I couldn't handle that.
How nerve-wracking it must be to be, I don't know, a pilot or a
Oh God, yes.
a deep-sea fisherman in Alaska and stuff like that.
No,
you
I'd
know?
have blood pressure through the roof. There's no way that I could do those jobs.
So
And I have no qualms about saying that. I have no desire to be a cop. but there's plenty of jobs where I know I could never do it.
Yeah.
Military? No way. I could never kill somebody.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. And I'm not good at taking orders when I
Oh God, I'm terrible at taking orders.
I personally weigh decisions, So when somebody tells me to do something, I'm consumed with the desire to weigh the decision myself and think,
See,
should I or
I
should I
am
not
much
do this?
more of a brat than that. And basically, even if I was going to do something, if somebody then barks an order at me and tells me I have to do it, suddenly I no longer want to do it.
Yeah, well, but
So,
I don't think I could take taking a life lightly,
no. Mm-mm.
And so each person, I'd have to determine whether they were a personal threat or not. So it would take me forever to make the decision whether to do the right thing as a soldier or not,
Right, and a lot of times you don't even have that opportunity.
No. So my reaction time would be way low.
Right.
So
I could never be military. I know that for a fact. I don't know that I could cut it as a cop because I do have a little bit of an issue with authority. But no, there's plenty of jobs that I couldn't do, and that's just because of who I am. I don't think it's because I'm not a capable person.
Right.
It doesn't say anything bad about me.
But I honestly want to see the cops do less overall. I don't want to see them.
Too, but
in
I
as
also
many
want to see the
situations.
right people in these positions.
Yes, both things.
There have been several officers where I've watched them on these videos, and you can just tell. You can tell by looking at how eager they are to inflict pain that they have no business.
They're waiting to pounce, man. In so many of these cases I've seen, when they go and start abusing somebody, they were wired up before they started the abuse.
Yes.
And they were just waiting for the opportunity, forcing the opportunity in some cases, where I saw one where the guy forced the person he was beating, he forced their hand onto a stick to excuse why he was beating him. Another guy, you just showed me, he walked in front of the guy so he would walk into him so he could...
He edged in front of him and then stopped walking.
Right, so he could then claim it was...
Right. Now, mind you, the guy who went around him barely brushed him, and then 5 cops pounced. That was planned.
Yeah.
There's no way that was planned.
Yeah, and every
Was
one
not
of them
planned.
should be fired.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Absolutely, they should be.
because that's messed up. It's messed up that that's who you are. You know what I'm saying? And that's I see so many of these, and I'm like, is this who you are as a people? Is this who you are as a city?
Right.
Is this who you are as a police force? Is this who you are as
It
an
is
individual?
who they are as a
because
police
if it is,
force.
you are predators.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not okay because you're supposed to be stopping predators. You're not supposed to
But
be the predators.
I think that what has happened is they've reached this mentality where they are there to protect property. They're there and they see us as the enemy. They're there to make sure no one's stealing.
There's so much
They're
more.
there to take care of like burglaries.
Yeah.
They're there to protect stores, and that means that they
And-
see the citizens as their enemy.
And they don't honestly care about your property or my property. They care about the property of large corporations. They care
Right.
about the property of rich people and politicians and stuff like that.
And their own,
They
of course.
literally are a Gestapo force for the elites,
Right.
and it's not okay. And do they even realize that's what they've become? You know, do they, or is it just they're just so used to?
I
Taking
think it's just the
orders?
power. I think
and-
it's that the power has gone. I think it's literally the Stanford prison experiment in play on
Oh,
a
yeah,
large
yeah.
scale.
Yeah, they have, and that's the thing. They have too much power, and I've argued with some police officers over some of this, and realistically, we don't need you for all this. There are plenty of things that.
Right, you shouldn't be animal control. You shouldn't
Yeah.
be handling
No, I agree.
minor domestic disputes.
Animal
you shouldn't
control
be
should be its
called
own
for
division.
noise complaints. I mean, there's a ton of things that the cops should not be handling.
Like George Floyd, he had the counterfeit 20. That Secret Service should have been involved, not the police. You know, I mean, there's certain cases where the
the
FBI
other thing I
should be
saw was
involved,
like so
not
many
the police.
people are like, I've had a counterfeit bill that I got in change from someplace and
Mhm.
literally had no idea that I had it.
Yes, I
So-
received it from work a couple times because I took tips
Uh-huh.
at one job, and I got a tip that was a counterfeit bill.
Yeah.
So-
So that's the thing is that, like, this will happen and like they don't even know. You know, he could
Yeah.
have been completely
And
innocent.
they automatically assume that you're
Right.
an animal. And
I'm
you-
not saying
yeah.
that he was completely innocent, but I'm saying it was entirely possible, and to kill him over something like that was insane.
Yeah.
Like, and this cop that did this to him had multiple offenses against him.
Yeah.
So when people are saying things like defund the police or abolish the police or reform the police or demilitarize the police, these things all have common ground and they all have valid ideas. And to say something like a fake $20 bill doesn't require that kind of force is really a basic concept that everybody should get.
Right. So
It really should be across the board that we're all looking at this and saying this wasn't necessary. These deaths weren't necessary.
Right.
Breonna Taylor wasn't necessary. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, fire the police." I want to see the judge get in trouble.
yeah.
He
No, and
signed
the-
off on a warrant that should never have been signed
Absolutely.
off on.
There should be no such thing as no knock warrants. That shouldn't even exist.
It doesn't exist there anymore. But
So-
kind of too late. And I still want to know what the fuck possessed this man to go, "Oh, yep, this is fine."
Well, and
Really?
how many times does it end up being the wrong address? And I mean, it's ridiculous.
How we have a country where the Second Amendment is fucking celebrated like it's 4th of July, right? And we're really busting into people's houses with no-knock situations, knowing that there's a good chance these people are armed and thinking that they're not going to consider you a burglar?
Well, not only that.
Why? That's
look-
dumb. You're putting your officers at risk as well as anybody in that house.
And that's the thing is, and it shouldn't be considered murder when you defend yourself. You know,
I agree.
So how are you supposed to know when somebody busts in your door without knocking and stuff? That's an intruder. I'm
A
sorry if it
no-knock
happened to be the
warrant?
police, but you put yourself in a bad
Exactly.
position.
A no-knock warrant is basically begging for people to end up dead.
Right.
What are you thinking?
Because I'll tell you what, somebody busts down my door, I'm shooting.
And that's the thing is you don't and in the middle of the night while everybody's sleeping, it's dark, you don't fucking know who's coming in at you, especially if they had flashlights.
Right.
You can't see beyond that beam of
But
light.
and then they're like, oh, well, you're a cop killer. Well, no, I'm a self-defender.
right.
You know,
No, the whole concept is fucked. Why anybody thought that was a good idea in the first place is beyond me. But what the fuck?
right.
So, yeah, no, I think that judge should be in deep shit.
But that's the thing. We need an entire system reform. It's time to dig deep, and it's time to get rid of every corrupt son of a bitch we've got.
But they keep talking about how these cops who have done stuff like this have had so many complaints against them. Why are they still working for you if
Right.
they've had this many complaints? And then we talk about how the unions are a big issue because half the time they'll try to fire these cops and the unions fight and get their jobs back.
Right.
You know, that's obviously a problem. It has to be taken out of their hands because
Right.
clearly they can't handle it. Look at the people who are running these big cities. I have seen insane shit out of Philadelphia, Los Angeles, New York, Portland, Seattle, Florida, not just a city, like half the fucking state, Dallas, Austin. Like, there's some crazy shit going on. You guys need less control over your police force. There needs to be people overseeing you because you're not handling
We
it.
need an overall ethics board that can remove police.
I think every major city.
Prosecutors, judges, politicians. If there is an ethics violation, we create a code of ethics, and if there is an ethics violation, it doesn't matter. You work for the government, you can be fired if you violate these ethics.
I agree.
You know, and that's just how it's got to be. They review you, and you have had too many, complaints against you, and they turn out.
And
true.
I think they should be
Bye.
public. I think it needs
Oh,
to
yeah,
go
yeah.
right on the government site.
They work for us. We should have a right to know
Absolutely.
what our employees
there
are doing.
has to be transparency. Every time a judge lets a cop go on these kinds of things, that needs to be public.
Yeah.
Well, that probably is public, unless the case is sealed. But I mean, every time.
But we need.
But
we
every
need
time
a
a
website
judge-
where it all is compiled from all of them.
A lot of cities do, or a lot of counties, because that's usually where the cases are held. A lot of counties do actually make their case information public. Our county does. I don't know if you
No,
knew
what
that.
I'm saying is
But-
that we need a place where every politician, every judge, every prosecutor, every police officer, whatever, all
where
of
it's
their
compiled.
it's all compiled so you can connect the dots.
I
So
agree.
you can see that this politician is responsible for this, judge is responsible
Here's
for
the
this.
other thing. I think that when it's a judge as well, I think that if you, like, say a black man has a case and this judge finds him and he's found guilty and the judge sentenced him to whatever the sentence is, I think that defendant's attorney should be able to look at the sentencing that this judge has issued for white men versus black men, and if there's a noticeable difference,
Yeah.
that complaint should be able to be posted on there.
Yeah.
You know?
But you know
Because
how
there-
many of them are afraid of making complaints and everything because the judge will be
it
biased
doesn't
against
have
you
to
later?
be an attorney.
If
It
there's
can be the defendant themselves that
Well,
makes the complaint. It
that's
could be the
fine.
defendant's family
But
that
my
makes
point-
the complaint.
my point is
Or
that
it should be anonymous.
we can't have these judges being able to show bias later because you made a complaint
I don't trust
against them.
judges, man.
They're the
I don't-
worst.
ugh.
They are the absolute worst thing we've got.
But the thing is that, the complaint should be able to be anonymous. I
Yeah.
think that it should go before an ethics board or some sort of governing board, civilian run preferably, and they should be able to review this and say, yep, this is legit, and they should be able to post
Yeah,
it.
they should have absolutely
They
no
should-
connection with the rest of the system.
Right, exactly. And they should be able to look at it and say, oh, this is frivolous. This is just some Karen making a complaint about somebody for not giving them her way.
Right.
And they throw that one out. Because, I mean, that's bound to happen.
Right.
But, I mean, this board should be able to look at this and say, yes, this is legit, post it, everybody needs to know.
Right. And immediately, if you ever shut off your cam, your body cam or whatever,
Cover your badge, remove your name tag, all of those should
that's
be
destroying
immediate
evidence,
firing.
and you should be terminated immediately.
Yep, I agree.
If not, go to jail for
I
destroying
agree.
evidence.
And everybody's talking about how, oh, well, you keep seeing these videos of the cops being violent, blah, blah, blah. What about all the videos of the protesters doing stuff? Great. Then there should be body cam evidence. Where's it at? Show
Right.
us. Show
Right,
us.
right.
Where's all the body cams? Because the only ones I've seen have just proven what the cops were doing was excessive force.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So, all right. We got anything else?
No, I think that was quite a bit of ranting in all directions.
All right. We'll see you all next time. Don't forget to check us out at fire_American on Twitter. And go check us out at American Dumpster Fire on r/American Dumpster Fire on Reddit.
We also have a website now.
Oh yeah, tell
We
them the
posted
website.
a few articles, not much, but we'll be adding to it here and there. And that is americandumpsterfire.vegvisiermedia.com.
And we're looking for resources and stuff like that for people in the community, resistors and protesters and stuff like that. So if you know lawyers who represent protesters and resistors, if you have any resources and organizational ideas or what have you, send them our way. We'd like to see all that. So we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.